There's no doubt that Arc Raiders has potential. The lead up to its release has been nothing short of a frenzy, proof that there is a real fascination with this game's potential. But as they always say, it's not the size of your potential that matters, it's how you use it. Get it? In other words, potential only matters if you can live up to it. Arc Raiders is one of the most hyped new IPs we've seen in gaming in a long time, let alone within the extraction shooter genre. Hype brings expectations, and expectations bring scrutiny. So let's scrutinize and talk about what Arc Raiders needs to do if it's going to live up to its huge, throbbing potential. That was so awful, I'm so sorry. I want to start with the only thing that I've seen that actually really worries me. Rooster Scrappy on Twitter posted this, which reads, Arc Raiders will have gear-based matchmaking. SloanX on YouTube says the game will match you with players of a similar overall gear score. SloanX is a creator who talked to the devs at TwitchCon. He said the devs told him about this gear-based matchmaking. If you don't understand what gear-based matchmaking is, let me explain. Imagine you're loading into a raid with a green weapon and a medium shield. If this matchmaking system is strict, it will only place you into a lobby with other players who also have a green weapon and a medium shield. If the system is loose, it won't take into account what other weapons or items players are using and will just match you with whoever hits ready up at a similar time. That's a heavily simplified explanation, but hopefully that makes sense. Now let's assume that this claim is true and Arc Raiders will have gear-based matchmaking. This is a terrible idea. My heart literally sank when I saw this, and here's why. Part of the whole gameplay loop is getting better loot to give yourself an edge against other raiders and the Ark. You feel more powerful the more you progress, like you're becoming some sort of super soldier. Until you inevitably have a raid that goes badly, you lose some, if not all, of your favorite weapons, and the cycle starts again. With gear-based matchmaking in place, your risk-reward is massively reduced because you always know roughly what everyone else is bringing in. And one of the most exciting parts of a gunfight is having no idea if the enemy is an absolutely stocked-up demon or a common loot-toting potato. Plus, you lose those amazing moments when you're the potato. You win a fight, and when you loot your fallen enemy, you realize, oh my god, they have an epic level weapon, so good. That's peak extraction shooter dopamine. I understand why Embark thought this might help with fairness, but I don't understand why they'd actually include it. The only good way to implement this system is that if it's loose enough that you never even notice it exists. But then why have it at all? We'll have to wait and see. Posted at Walker jumping in here because since I recorded this, Arc Raiders themselves actually posted a tweet in response to this whole fiasco. The tweet basically says that they've talked about implementing gear score matchmaking, but are instead focused on keeping the balance of solos and squads on an even playing field, meaning that solos get matched with solos, squads with squads. I will say that this doesn't deny that gear score matchmaking may come in the future, which has me a little nervous, but if this ever does get implemented, it's safe to say that this will be well after launch. We can check back on this down the road sometime. One of the most common complaints during the server slam was character customization. Many people were upset that the character models didn't make them horny enough, and that there was a real lack of options to create the character they wanted. I personally really like the fact that these characters don't look like beautiful fashion models. They look like real people. Imperfect, even slightly odd faces, the kind you'd actually expect to see doing the most dangerous job in this universe. Weathered by life on the surface, the stress of their unfortunate but lucrative employment clearly visible in their expressions. I mean, I love this old guy. You can't deny that this is good character design. He's the kind of veteran raider who's actually only 36 years old and just looks fucking terrible. All that being said, getting your character to look exactly the way you want is half the fun. It would be a real shame if we didn't have more options for customization, but I do really doubt that this is the final state. It felt more like a placeholder for the Server Slam build. Moving on to more gameplay related topics, I think higher tier loot zones should change every raid. If your first raid on Dam has research and administration as the red zone, then the next should maybe have power generation or water treatment. It's a simple fix and it keeps maps feeling fresh and ensures that each raid feels different. I've also seen what I would say is a surprising amount of complaints around extraction campers. But to me, isn't that just part of the game? You're never fully safe until you're actually back in Speranza. Danger at extraction is part of what makes extracting exciting. I can understand the concern a bit more if we're talking about solo raids, so here's a quick fix. Bring smoke grenades. You throw one, you call the elevator, you hide, you throw another one with the doors open, and then you're pretty much golden. I understand that it's far from perfect, but extraction camping is a valid, albeit scummy way to play the game, and we just have to come to terms with that. I did have some thoughts about weapon progression that I was going to include, but I don't think we've seen enough about it yet. I do hope the legendary weapons have 5 attachment slots, and if we get that, then I think I'll be happy. I can understand the point of view that there isn't enough in this game to make a weapon feel uniquely yours, but I think a strength of Arcraiders is its simplicity. Introducing too many attachments and attachment slots may hinder that, so I think it's in a good spot. A quick note on this nerf to flying arc's visibility through trees and bushes. This is a great change. During the server slam, there were a number of times where they were shooting me through nature itself and I literally couldn't see them, so I'm really pleased with this change. There are parts of the inventory system that I feel like I'm wrestling with. It feels a bit hamstrung at times, and there are 2 changes that I think could help here. You should be able to use quick items directly from your backpack without them being in a quick use slot. Fully opening up your inventory inherently makes these items no longer quick use, which should stop people from being able to abuse this mechanic. I think that's a really simple fix that'll make gameplay feel a lot more smooth. But more importantly, being able to split item stacks into specific amounts needs to be implemented, especially when moving items from your stash into your inventory. If I want to be able to split this stack of 4 syringes into a stack of 2, a stack of 1, and a stack of 1, then I should be able to. I have seen comments that this could be available on release, so I really hope it makes it into the final build. Speaking of your stash, am I stupid or did anyone else not notice this little expand button that allows you to increase the number of items you can hold in your stash? This should say upgrade. Expand gives the impression that it just increases your view of the items on screen. Anyone else? In any case, I think this needed to be more visible because I spent the entire server slam with just the base 64 item stash space or whatever it was. The ready up system and how you prepare going into a raid needs work. In and of itself, I don't think I would say that it's terribly designed, but if you're grinding this game for like 6 hours a day, you're going to realize very quickly how annoying this is. You have to flick between your inventory and your crafting tables and go back and forth through the traders if you want to buy or craft any items, and it just feels like a mess. You can get a bit lost in this process, and I sometimes found myself in a menu completely forgetting what I was even there for. Arena Breakout has made this exact same process incredibly simple, where you can go into a specific section, this configure weapons or configure items, see what items you're missing before a raid, and buy them in basically one click. Arcraiders needs to find a way to implement something like this, because at the moment it feels like you have to navigate a maze of tabs and menus just to get yourself ready to go into a raid. A few more quick points for you. We need custom button mapping for controller. This should be a staple for any game at this point, and while the controls out of the box are absolutely fine, you should be able to have the freedom to change what each button does to meet your specific needs. These UI item hints cover way too much of the screen and either need to be moved or reduced in size. And a stats page would be great that shows a record of your kills, your deaths, maybe your highest value extraction, and any other personal records. It's always one of those things that players love to have so they can track their progress or just brag about how good they are at the game. At the end of the day, Arcraiders is already a good, if not great, game. It has a really solid foundation and it should only get better from here. If the server slam felt boring to you, that's because it was essentially a tutorial loop. One map, the same weapons, minimal progression, everyone doing the same missions. The full release won't stay like that. As players progress at different speeds and new areas open up, the gameplay will naturally evolve and expand. But there are plenty of small tweaks and fixes the devs could implement to make the experience even better. Yes, Arcraiders has a ton of potential, but potential only matters if you can actually live up to it. Thanks for watching, leave your comments below if you think I missed anything, and I'll see you next time.